I'm going to call this meeting to order. This meeting is being held remotely as an alternative means of public access pursuant to the order issued by Governor of Massachusetts dated March 12, 2020, superseding certain provisions of the open meeting law. You're hereby advised that this meeting and all communications during this meeting may be recorded by the town of Scituate in accordance with the open meeting law. Meetings will have a question and answer session following each public hearing. Abutters will have the ability to raise their hand. Please keep the total to less than 3 minutes. And when we say raise your hand, look to your computer and press the raised hand button if you want to speak. Thank you. Do we have any additions or amendments to the agenda?
I don't think
I'd just like to, I'm going to send out a thing real quick. I got an email from the scouts regarding Crosby, and I'll explain it a little later on. Okay?
Okay. Do you want a motion?
I would love it.
I make a motion, we accept the agenda with the add-on of the scouts.
I have a second?
Second, Doug?
It's Doug. So all in favor, Richard?
Yes.
Jen?
Yep.
Andy?
Yes.
Brendan?
Yes.
Great, thank you. All right, let's start with 159 Rear Glades. So on May 3rd, 2021, the 5:30 meeting at Town Hall, Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Massachusetts General Laws, and Section 30700 Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws regarding the application of Maura and Richard Cullen for work related to a septic repair at a dwelling located at 59R Glades Road, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to access the virtual meeting is available on the agenda posted on the town website. So who do we have for that?
Greg Morse.
Good evening.
Good evening. For the record, this is Gregory Morse, registered engineer, Morse Engineering. I'm representing the property owner and applicant, Maura and Richard Conlon. This is a septic system upgrade project. The property is located at 159R Glades Road. Looking at the plan here on the screen, the property line is shown as the bold black line. Kind of at the bottom left of the screen in blue is highlighted. That's the edge of the salt marsh. The 100-foot buffer zone is the highlighted green line at the top right of the page. You'll notice that the entire lot is within the 100-foot buffer zone to the salt marsh. It's also in an area land subject to coastal storm flowage. It's a FEMA zone at elevation 15. For reference, the topography at this site is approximately elevation 8 to elevation 9. There's an existing home at the property. That home is serviced by a septic system behind the house, which failed a Title V inspection. The proposal here is to put a new system of equal capacity, which is 3 bedrooms capacity, but to locate it in the front yard. This is an advanced treatment system, so it's not just a typical septic tank. This is a Hoot aerobic treatment tank, a pump chamber, and then a geoflow drip dispersal system. This plan has been approved by the Board of Health. I would add that this plan was previously approved by the Conservation Commission too, back in, I believe, 2013. However, the system was never installed. Since then, the Conlons have purchased the property. They're looking forward to getting this installed. Turn it over to you.
Great, thank you. Richard?
Well, actually, the only questions I have is, am I reading it right that there are trees involved in this? Are they coming out? Or are they being worked around? Otherwise, I love it.
Yeah, there are a couple of trees right along the front lot line there that will have to come down as this gets built. But the majority of the work, the majority of the leaching system and tanks are within area that's existing lawn, and that would be restored as lawn.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. Doug?
No questions.
Penny?
Greg, am I right that we already, you have a planting plan for the back there near the marsh?
Yeah, so kind of it was a separate notice of intent filing, but
Right.
it was done by Ross Engineering. They proposed to raise the house, to
Yeah.
bring it into FEMA compliance and do plantings in the back. So
Yeah.
yes, that's a separate
So
project.
there's
but that's in
already,
place.
but there's already gonna be a planting plan and a nice buffer out back. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Jen?
No, I'm glad that there's going to be something done in the back. Just curious, is all this happening kind of around the same time, Greg, or are you aware of the sequencing?
Yeah, I think the house will go up first, and then they'll do the septic afterwards, just to prevent construction equipment from being on top of it.
Got
Now,
it.
access to this site's fairly limited, so.
Yeah. It's a tight area.
Yep.
I'm
Okay,
good.
thanks. Andy?
I'm okay.
Brendan?
Yeah, I have no questions.
Okay, Amy?
Yeah. Yeah, so this appears to meet the requirements of the Wetlands Protection Act and the bylaw. That I think it's fine to issue. Concerning the other project, I actually already had kind of a pre-con conversation with a contractor who's going to be doing the house. So I think the silt sock's already out there and stuff like that. But yeah, this is great improvement, and let's get this approved.
Okay, do we have anybody in the audience to speak to this? No? Okay. I don't have any questions. Looks like a
Okay,
much
I'll
needed
make a
upgrade. so-
motion.
Yep,
I make a motion to close.
we have a second. Great,
Yes.
all in favor, Richard,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Brendan, and Frank,
Thank you.
yes, thank you. Okay, thank you. 21 Harvard Road on May 3rd, 5:30 meeting at the Town Hall, Situate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40, Massachusetts General Laws, and Section 30700, Town of Situate Code of Bylaws regarding the application of Joseph Casey for work related to septic repair dwelling at 21 Harvard Street, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information, the access to the virtual meeting was available on the agenda post on the website. Okay, who do we have? Greg again?
Yep. Again, for the record, Gregory Morse, registered engineer, Morse Engineering. This is a septic system repair project at 21 Harvard Street, located in the Hummerock section of town. The property line on this plan you'll see is the black bold line. It's approximately a 5,000 square foot lot. At the front of the lot, there's an existing 4-bedroom single-family home. You'll see Harvard Street located at the bottom of the page. This property is located again in land subject to coastal storm flowage, a FEMA zone elevation 13. It's also located on the barrier beach. We're replacing the septic system with a new septic system in the backyard. It consists of a 1,500 gallon septic tank, a distribution box, and a series of infiltrator chambers. This is a 4-bedroom design. It's a 4-bedroom house at the property. It meets all Title V requirements. The Board of Health has not approved this yet, but we expect approval imminently. Where this is located is bare sand, and it would go back in its finished condition as bare sand. There's no vegetation removal associated with this septic system. Turn it over to you.
Doug?
No questions really. There's a note on here that says you may have to raise the plumbing within the house to get that to go gravity. Are you relatively confident that that's possible to do?
We are, yes.
Okay, so you don't think you're gonna have to add a pump chamber to this?
No, we've had a plumber look at it at this point, and it's absolutely doable.
Okay, no other question.
Penny,
Nope, I'm all set. Thank you.
Jen,
I'm good. And I always learn something from Doug's questions. So I like going after him.
Andy,
I'm all good.
Brendan,
No questions.
Richard,
Good.
right? Amy,
Yeah, so this is a great improvement, another great improvement for our field system, barrier beach, coastal dune, flood zone and Hummerock. DP had no comments and yeah, it doesn't have Board of Health approval yet, but that will be coming, as Greg said, and it does appear to meet the requirements of the Wetlands Protection Act and Scituate bylaw.
okay. Do we have anybody in the audience for this one? Okay.
I don't
Does this
see any
require,
raised hands.
does this require any erosion control, or are we,
Shouldn't.
it's all sand?
Yeah.
It's all pure sand.
Okay.
It's a relatively flat lot, so I didn't propose any, no.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very flat, very sandy, very close to the new fire station.
Sounds good.
Do you want a
Okay.
motion, Frank?
That'd be awesome.
I make a motion that we close, should we pending Board of Health approval?
I'll second that. It's Richard.
Richard seconded. So all in favor, Doug,
Yep,
Jen,
Yep.
Andy,
Yes.
Brendan,
Yes.
Frank, yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now we have number 12 Alden Street on May 3rd, 2021, at 5:30 PM meeting in the Town Hall. Situate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 4 of the Mass General Laws and Section 30700 Town of Situate Code of Bylaws regarding the application of John Kelly for work related to construction on a deck at dwelling location 12 Alden Street, Situate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to access the virtual meetings available, posted on the town website. This is Grady Consulting. What do we have?
Yes, it is Grady. And I also see a hand raised right now too, Frank, by the way.
It's Paul Seaberg from Grady Consulting. I just need you to unmute me for a minute.
Yeah, it sounds like you're unmuted.
Perfect. Okay. So I'm here representing the applicants for this proposed deck project located at 12 Alden Street. Currently, this site consists of an existing single-family house. There's a deck to the front of the house and also on the right-hand side. Septic system and septic tank in the front of the house and leaching field located in the rear of the property. The site is located in a FEMA flood zone AE elevation 14. And the site's also located in the barrier beach. What the applicant would like to do here is basically construct a proposed deck around all four sides of the house and into the rear of the property. The deck consists of 12 concrete precast footings. And we are proposing a silt fence erosion control around the perimeter of the property. And I'd be happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
Okay. Penny, it's your turn to go first.
Ooh. The deck, is that the big section in the back or the front?
That's the back.
It's in the back, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, you won't have any lawn to mow, that's for sure. No, I don't have a problem with it. It's taken up the whole lot, the deck, but
Yeah, it's all sand.
yeah, and that's what they want.
Jen?
Yeah, it feels very straightforward. I almost feel like I'm missing something, but I think I'm good.
No,
Andy?
it's a mess.
I'm okay right now.
Okay, Brendan.
Yeah, no questions.
What do I start with? Richard?
Actually, I'm sure I'm just missing it or I'm not seeing it with my failing eyes here. How high is the deck going to be up on the piles?
It's approximately 2.5 feet off of existing grade.
Okay, that's all I have.
And Doug?
I probably missed it, but they're wood piles driven.
No,
Um,
concrete.
They're concrete piles,
Precast concrete.
precast concrete piles. And they're strategically placed around that system.
Exactly. They have to
So-
span that whole backyard area to the rear of the property.
Yeah, it's pretty good size, but
Yep.
yeah, so that's a structural issue. I suppose locating that system, you'll have to do that before construction somewhere
Correct.
to make sure that they get placed, don't damage a pipe or something. That would be my own concern, is that gets damaged and then we have to deal with repairing that too. But other than that, no questions.
Okay. Amy?
Yeah, so, I mean, it's a pretty sensitive area there on Alden Street with the barrier beach and coastal dune and flood zone. I mean, there's a pretty healthy dune there. So, that was, one of the questions was, was whether to, what was how they were going to get the pilings in without disturbing the dune. So I think that Paul answered that question. And it will need to meet state building code with coastal resource areas. So I would say that it does meet the Wetlands Protection Act and Scituate bylaw.
Okay. Do we have anybody in the audience?
We have a Steve that's raised his hands.
Steve?
So we need to ask Steve to unmute. I can do that for you.
Okay.
And there you go, Steve. You
Can
should
you hear
be.
me
He's
now?
unmuted.
Okay,
Thank
very
you,
good.
Seth.
Thank you. My name is Stephen Rock, number 10 Alden Street. It's the house to the right of 12 Alden Street. You'll notice it's very tight quarters on Humrock. That I'm sure you've heard this before. We've had issues with prior owners doing construction that they were basically driving bobcats down my driveway where my septic tank is located, which they did not pull a permit at the time. They did not let us know at the time. They did not have our permission, and it was an absolute nightmare. What I would like to request is that both the owners are aware of the situation and that whatever work is being done or the storage of the materials or the delivery of the materials stay on their property. It's very easy to look at the site and actually vendors will say, okay, nobody's here. We can just go down and do whatever the heck we want. And that's why I wanted to raise my concerns. Short of basically moving in during construction, I don't know what else can be done, but I did want to take the opportunity to raise my concerns because it's a very big concern.
Thank you. I understand what you're saying. I don't know if you have the benefit of being able to see the plan, but they do have a proposed silt fence and a limit of work sort of etched out in the red. And
Yes.
they should make sure that they follow up on that. I don't know if the owners are on, but certainly their engineers should relay that information back to them.
Yes, we will. We'll establish the limit of work and silt fence prior to construction, obviously.
Yep.
So that will prevent anything from happening on your property.
Yep. With all due respect, what's going to stop them from saying there's nobody here? Drive the lumber truck down and let's, get it off while no one's looking.
I can't tell you that.
I know. And that's the problem. And that's why I'm taking time out of my day, basically, to, raise this with you guys. I know there's nothing that can really be done, short of having an on-site supervisor. I don't know if there's any fines or anything that can be done. I just wanted to, basically put this on the table because of the past history. This is new owners that I don't want to, and I don't want to be a pain in the neck. But on the other hand, that's my septic tank.
So Steve, I think we've got a few more hearings tonight and I understand what you're saying. I mean, I know it doesn't have to be put on you, but you do have the option, I suppose, of putting some sort of barricade or something between your house and that property line.
Well, thank you.
All right. I mean, your comments are noted. They have a limit of work. And, but that's trespassing, which really isn't the Conservation Commission's issue, unfortunately. So if you have anybody
Yeah,
keep an eye on it. And if not, I would suggest maybe you want to, either post it or put up some sort of fence or something like.
We've had this before and it's always running around in circles, but I do thank you. That's all I had.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, I think you've caught that. I have the benefit of a plan in front of me. It looks to me, I'm seeing some, you kind of highlighted this. So the deck towards the back of the house is all in red. Are the other decks in place? The stuff that's in green, are those to be built as well?
So you're looking at these structural plans, I'm assuming, with the colors?
Yes.
Yeah, those represent different floor joist sizes, like different colors on that plan.
So the deck's being replaced not only at the rear of the house, but both sides and the front.
Exactly.
Okay.
And there's an existing deck in the front and the right-hand side as well.
So where that is hatched out is existing, and then they're going to go forward. So they do have the benefit of being able to get down the side of the house. I guess it would be the left-hand side as I view it.
Exactly, left-hand side.
Okay.
Work their way out from the back.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Motion.
I would like a motion.
I make a motion to close.
Second,
I'll second that, Doug.
Doug. All in favor? Richard,
Yes.
Jen,
Yep.
Andy,
Yes.
Brendan,
Yes.
Frank, yes. Great, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 7, Nielsen,
Listen.
17, I'm sorry, Nelson Street. On May 3rd at 5:30 PM, the Town Hall, Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section of Massachusetts General Law and Section 30700 Town Scituate Code of Bylaws regarding the application of Stephen and Heather Marshall for work related to raising and rebuilding and associated landscaping of a dwelling at 17 Nelson Street, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information, the access virtual meetings available on the posted town website. Good evening. Who's on?
Good evening,
I
members of
have
the commission.
Brad Holmes on. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you, Amy. Good evening, members of the commission. Brad Holmes with ECR here for the notice of intent for 17 Nelson Road. A notice has been submitted by Stephen and Heather Marshall for their property here that contains a single family home, a maintained yard, and an awesome studio that just received a certificate of compliance if you get to see it. But what we're looking to do this evening is a proposed rebuild of the existing single family home to remove the house and rebuild the house, generally the same footprint that is existing now. The work is within the 100-foot buffer zone. A small portion of the work is within the 50-foot buffer zone. However, that is the results of the existing conditions of the house as it stands today. We will install erosion controls to surround the work area, and everything will be located within the buffer zone. Other than that, I'll open it up for your questions.
Okay, thanks. Jen?
I had a feeling you were coming this way.
Yeah.
It sounds great. I love that it's not getting any bigger. I was a little distracted by the blue line. What does the blue line mean?
The blue line is off-site,
Yeah.
I believe. I think that's the location of the abutting residence. That's just the
Oh,
closest of point of
okay.
the abutting home.
Okay, got it. And what did you say was happening to the foundation? I'm sure you called it out. I was just distracted by the blue line.
It's going to be removed and rebuilt
With,
with a
Thank-
new foundation. We're not within a flood zone, so it's not going to be a pile supported house. It's a buffer zone only project. It's a new rebuild in full.
is it a basement or just a,
There is a basement now. It'll be reconstructed as a basement.
okay.
Um,
I'm okay for now.
Oh, you can always circle back. Andy,
Nothing to add to that. I'm good now.
Brendan,
Sorry. No, I'm okay. Thank you.
okay. Richard,
I'm good.
Doug,
Brad, is this, it's a rebuild. Are you keeping the existing foundation or is that being replaced as
No.
well?
There's a little bit of a reconfiguration of the house slightly. So I believe it's a new foundation. Heather Marshall is also on the line and I can confirm with her.
Okay, so there's going to be excavation and new footing put in for a whole new foundation. The deck is a replacement as well in kind, or is that in addition to?
Let me confirm with Heather. Would you be able to unmute Heather Marshall? Heather's actually an architect that has designed the project. Well,
Yeah, Heather's unmuted now.
Thank you. I'll start my video too. Hi, I'm Heather Marshall, 17 Nelson Road. I am the architect for this project and for my own project. Right now, the existing foundation, we're just sitting on concrete piers. They're not, they're just, it's a wood timber pier in the center sitting on a cinder block footing. So this project is to rebuild it with a proper frost wall around the perimeter, but the overall footprint stays the same. And the deck is rebuilt in kind to what it is today.
Okay, thank you. So
We're just replacing.
Any site grading needed at all? There's none
No,
shown on the plan.
no. So our lowest point at the existing studio is 16 feet. We're going to keep the basement. It's actually a walkout basement. So we're going to be at that a little bit higher than that 16, but not by much.
Okay. Okay, yeah, so then it's a little tight to the property line, as you can see, so digging for that footing, there's,
Yep,
you know, you'll have to watch that.
yep.
Tight period.
Not that,
It's
not
tight,
that
yeah.
that's not a conservation issue, I'm just, it's a, more of the, yeah.
Yep, no, we're
Looking
aware
at
of it.
Yeah,
It's a
I'm
tight
expecting about
site.
a 2 foot wide footing or something like that, so you still got a little room to play with, but.
Yep.
All right, end of my questions, thanks. Heather.
any?
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Amy?
Yeah, so
Right.
like everybody's saying, it's a tight site. And agreed that the studio came out great. And with that project, there had been a nice, robust planting plan that Brad had prepared and they executed. So that's all good. I mean, I think this is definitely approvable and meets the requirements of the Wetlands Protection Act and the Scituate bylaw. It is tight though, and I think that, you know, there will definitely, in all of our orders, there's a special condition for the limit of work to be staked in the field, you know, just so that everything's definitely in the right spot. certified by your engineer of record. So, thank you.
Do we have anybody in the audience for this one? Okay, so I don't have another plan for this, Heather. Are you driving piles or what's the foundation?
The solid foundation.
Can we unmute Heather?
Yep. Sorry, I muted. I muted prematurely.
Sure.
No, so we're actually doing a continuous frost wall for the foundation.
So a regular poured foundation.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. All right. I don't have anything else.
I'll make a motion to close.
Great. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's Penny. All in favor, Doug,
Yes.
Jen,
Yep.
Andy,
Yes.
and then
Yes.
Frank. Yes. Thank you.
Thank
Good
you
luck with
very
your
much.
Project. Thanks, Brad. Number 12, excuse me, Carnsley Lane.
Yeah.
Excuse me. On May 3rd, 2021, 5:30 at Town Hall, Situate Conservation Commission will hold a wetland hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Massachusetts General Laws, and Section 30700 Town of Situate Code of Bylaws regarding the application of Jennifer Sheehan for work related to building a garage, addition, decks, and porch dwelling at 12 Carnsley Lane, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to access the virtual meeting will be available on the agenda posted on the town website.
Good evening, members of the commission. Brad Holmes with ECR here for Jennifer Sheehan for her property at 12 Carnsley Lane. We've submitted a notice of intent for a single-family home improvement project. The project involves a proposed garage addition over existing structures, and a proposed deck that would wrap around the back of the house now in addition. The work is within the buffer zone bordering vegetative wetlands. We're not within flood zones or other resource areas, so it is within the buffer zone. The work occurs within existing structures and existing paved driveways and existing lawn. If possible, you could pull up if we could, I'd put together a mitigation plan that might be a little bit easier for the commission to see the project. But in general, what we're looking to do is work generally over existing structures or paved driveway. There is approximately 660 square feet of deck and garage proposal that's over the existing lawn. So what we're proposing to do is to provide mitigation with mitigation plantings at a greater than a 1-to-1 ratio, so that we'll propose 825 square feet of vegetative buffer to remove lawn. Well, thank you very much. And revegetate that so that we have a vegetative buffer strip where there really is just maintained lawn. So you can see the area in brown is the shaded area of new project footprint that falls outside of existing structure or driveway. However, it is over an existing lawn. We know the commission looks to require a 50-foot vegetative buffer strip with no work in that area. However, this area is already existing lawn and maintained, so we're proposing the mitigation to revegetate and create a vegetative buffer. And that image there has a step-by-step process on creating that mitigation plan and proposing a vegetative buffer. So I'll open it up for questions and discuss further.
Okay. Andy?
I don't think I have questions. I get the project. I mean, it's significant work in the 50. So no, I'll let other commissioners weigh in, but I don't have questions.
It's a pretty imposing project. Brendan?
No, I'm not gonna have a question at the moment.
All right, we can circle back too, if you hear something you want to comment on. Richard?
There we go. I think, isn't it supposed to be a 2-to-1 mitigation, first of
Yeah.
all? And second of all, I'm a little confused where, or maybe I'm just not seeing it. Where is the access for all of this work? And third is I don't see where the actual paved driveway is. And maybe I'm just missing it, or maybe it's the non-engineering part of me, but I'd like to know exactly where that is. And I assume it's under the proposed addition, but I'm not sure of that.
Sure. So the access is right from 12 Carnegie Lane. If you can see you see how there's brown strip on either side of the proposed garage? That's the
Yeah.
existing driveway leading into the existing garage and house.
Okay.
The proposed garage, majority of it is located over the existing driveway. You can see the slivers that are proposed over lawn. And then an addition would be proposed over the, structure that's there. And the proposed deck, obviously the shaded in brown is new structure within your 50-foot buffer zone. We're looking to mitigate that. If it's a 2-to-1 ratio, we can improve and increase the area, the mitigation area, if that's what the commission would like.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would, and I bet Penny will agree with me.
Yes.
But other than that, I'm good for now.
Doug?
So it's a proposed addition on a full foundation, at least a 4-foot frost wall.
There's existing structure there now.
Okay.
So it's over
So
that, the addition.
that's the light dotted line is an existing structure. And then in red, you've got the proposed addition that goes over.
Correct.
So that's going to be ripped down and then you replace that. So the increase in area is the difference between those two.
As
Plus-
shaded in brown.
Plus the garage. Yeah, I'm trying to look at 2 plans.
Right, the garage would
Well-
be new.
Well, it looks like there's if I'm looking at least, there's a dotted line. Oh, existing patio. And then an existing deck, but the addition itself is a smaller shaded or dashed line, right?
Yes, correct.
So, but the addition itself covers that up. So you're covering up deck and patio with roof,
Of the addition, yes.
right? So, and then plus the garage.
The garage is really the new structure, and that's heading off the existing house located over the existing driveway.
Right. I
As
guess what I'm wondering about is this looks like it's not big enough to trigger any stormwater or anything like that, but maybe some consideration to some to roof runoff, because the proposed addition does go over the top of an existing deck. Am I correct in seeing that?
Some of it does, yes.
Some of it. It looks like maybe a third is increased runoff if the patio is considered pervious. And then when you had the addition of the garage, it just, I think maybe some consideration beyond the mitigation, but to do some control runoff, because you're so close to the wetlands.
We can
I don't
look
know
at
what
that.
I don't really know though, Brad, because I don't know what the soils are like there or anything like that. It might drain just fine. But that would just be a thought around that. I see these are both contained in the same file. That's helpful. Because you've got highlighted as in brown. I'm just trying to follow that. Why isn't the whole proposed garage in brown? What am I missing here?
Because some of the garage sits over an existing paved driveway.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so what you're pretty much is highlighting is you're highlighting new impervious materials.
Correct. And actually the deck would be,
And I was going to say the deck
Pervious, but-
really would be considered pervious.
I was trying to highlight anything that's new within the 50-foot buffer zone as basically project area within the 50-foot buffer zone in brown.
Strictly kind of considering like impervious areas, but you included the deck. Okay,
Yes.
all right. Yeah, so that I guess that would be the only. I know it's paved driveway, so that wasn't that was a totally unmitigated before, but maybe a consideration to some just what's going to happen with the roof runoff. There's a slope there from about 54 down to 52, so not terribly steep, but the water is running all directly towards the wetlands. So just maybe some consideration about what happens to the roof runoff. That's all.
We can look at that.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else want to comment or jump to Amy?
Yep.
Amy, I guess you're.
Yeah, I'm on. I'm up. All right. So, I mean, Brad, what year was this house built in? I was just looking for that info in the NOI.
I'd have to say around the 50s, but I'd have to get more information for you. It's an older subdivision.
So it wasn't built after 1996.
Definitely not.
Okay, right. Yeah, I just wanted to confirm that. I mean, that's kind of an important factor here because, I mean, clearly Scituate has a 50-foot do not disturb buffer under the local bylaw, which we're all well aware of. But on these older homes where there's, already disturbed area that's been turned into lawn long time ago, although it's into that buffer, it probably is approvable. DEP had no comments with the special conditions. I mean, our number one mantra would be to avoid any encroachment into this 50, but there's already been with the lawn, or to minimize it or to mitigate, right? So you guys brought up, the mitigation 2 to 1, that would be great. Doug's comment about roof runoff and maybe adding an infiltrator or two, that would be consistent on what you've done in the past with these types of projects. In fact, there was one off of Hathaway that's just what we did, that Cavanero project just recently. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, Frank.
You're muted, Frank. Oh, no, you're not.
I got it. Thank you, Richard. So I guess the question that came up from somebody was, is there enough mitigation?
No.
Yes, there is not.
So I'm just wondering, I have to be honest, I didn't get a chance to visit the site. Just wonder if there's something else out there that would be helpful to correct. Brad, if you've been out there, if the lawn maybe should be pulled back some.
We can increase that 825 square feet to
Should be
so that it's a
32.
2 to 1,
Yeah.
and bring it up along the proposed addition and widen out the back a little bit. So we can do that.
I think that would be the most beneficial area along that deck side if that could be. Although, does that give them access into the backyard if they do that?
I was trying to leave 10 feet so that there would be adequate room to maneuver around. So I think if I can bring that up kind of to the top of the page. And then I can widen out the bottom to get up to the 1,300 those feet of mitigation.
Does I see the lawn pulls away from the wetlands line as it gets towards Carnsley. But it's right on the wetland line
Right.
for a lot of that. So yeah, that would be helpful. I guess that's the best place to increase that, as long as you keep that strip. What do you think, Amy, between increasing the buffer, the mitigation area, and some runoff?
I think that would be great, and that you guys could probably close pending receipt of a revised plan showing what you've just discussed. If that sounds good to you, Brad, and your client.
That'd be great.
Okay, anybody else want to add anything to this? Okay, I'll take,
Motion.
please.
Well, just ask for a butters.
Oh, I'm sorry, butters. Thanks, Amy. Anybody in the audience?
Seeing none.
Okay, you're on, Penny.
Motion to close.
We have a second.
With the addition of the planning plan and the infiltrator.
So that was a second with Richard with the addition.
Yes.
So all in favor, Doug,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Brendan,
Yes.
and Frank, yes. Okay, thanks, Brad.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
You too.
Thanks, Brad.
22 Palfrey Street.
We're down here again.
On May 3rd, 2021 at 5:30 PM, the Town Hall, Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Massachusetts General Laws and Section 30700 Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws regarding the application of Brian and Catherine Coach for work related to a septic repair at a location at 22 Palfrey Street, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to access the virtual meetings available on the agenda posted on the town website.
Hi, Frank. We have Carolyn Reese from Cavanero on.
Good evening, Carolyn.
Good evening. Yeah, for the record, my name is Caroline Reese from Cavanero Consulting. I'm representing Brian and Catherine Koch, the applicants, and the owners, Seven Seas Realty for a septic system upgrade. The lot is located at 22 Palfrey Street in the Hummerock neighborhood. The lot area is 3,200 square feet. They propose a repair located in the rear of the lot that's primarily sand. It's a very sandy area. Removing the existing cesspool that has failed and replacing it with a 1,000-gallon septic tank and infiltration chambers. The lot is completely located within Barrier Beach, Coastal Dune, and land subject to coastal storm flowage. That's at elevation 13. It's also in the Scituate floodplain and watershed protection district. Let's see, a silt fence is proposed around the corner of the lot. And this plan will be presented to Board of Health, I believe, next week. Brendan Sullivan will be doing that. And at this point, I'd open it to questions, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we're back to Richard.
No, I really don't have any question. I'm assuming the cesspool will be filled in and that the access would be on that side of the house.
Mm-hmm. Most
But,
likely.
but otherwise, no, I know the property and it's needed.
Yeah.
Okay. Doug?
I think my only question is the 1,000-gallon tank large enough for a 3-bedroom house capacity? I know that it's a really tight squeeze there and you probably had to get variances already just to put it 5
So,
feet off
right,
the house?
the room, but it was size, the calculations are on the drawing. I think that it was sized for the size of the house, you know. Mhm.
330 gallons. Yeah. I mean, I was
330.
just gallons per day, but it's, yeah, that was my own question, like why it isn't a 1,500 gallon tank, which is a little bit what you usually see, but and the only reason why I bring that up is the amount of removal.
Mhm.
You're going to have to dig that in there, but you would have room. You've already got a variance in there. I just wouldn't want you to have to go back again if it didn't. It's tight. Wow. Yeah.
It's tight, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll mention that Brendan Sullivan did the
The
septic design.
Yeah,
just
it
to
is.
note
It's
that,
more
but
of a question.
tight.
I know Brendan knows what he's doing, so I'm not questioning the calculation. It's just that was the only thing that jumped out at me. So,
Mhm.
but other than that, no questions at all.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Doug. Penny,
No, I don't have any questions.
Jen,
No, I'm good.
Andy,
I'm good on this.
Brendan,
No questions.
Amy,
Yeah, so no DEP comments. You know, it's going to be a great improvement on a barrier beach, coastal dune, flood zone. So excited to see this project happen. So you're good to close.
Well, we need the BOH approval though, don't we?
You've been closing these without full approval, and if the plan does get modified, we just get the you know, the new plan in the file.
Okay.
But we haven't been holding these up for
Okay.
board approval
Okay.
on projects like these, at
Okay.
least.
Thank you.
do we have anybody in the audience for this?
Seeing no raised hands.
Make a motion to close.
With Board of Health approval, right?
Yeah, pending Board of Health
Pending.
approval.
Yeah. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Doug's got a second. All in favor, Richard,
Yes.
Penny,
Yes.
Jen,
Yep.
Andy,
Yes.
Brendan.
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you very
very
much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next one's an RDA, 53 Glades Road. On May 3rd, 2021, during the 5:30 PM meeting in Town Hall, the Scituate Conservation Commission will act on the request of Massachusetts Electric Company for a determination of applicability, the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Scituate Wetlands Bylaw for activities related to replacing utility pole at property known as 153 Glades Road, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend.
I have Jeremy here from Time Bond.
Okay.
Hi. Yeah, for the record, my name's Jeremy Degler. I'm an environmental scientist at Tie and Bond, and I'm presenting the Massachusetts Electric Company today. The project, like mentioned, is just going to be the replacement of a single utility pole, an 18-inch pole at 153 Glades Road. It'll be replaced within the maintained roadway shoulder. We're here today because that pole lies within land subject to coastal storm flowage, a 100-foot buffer zone to coastal beach. I believe those are the two resources being impacted. And yeah, this is a very straightforward project. It's going to be a one-day replacement. Just pretty much restored right back to the original condition.
Okay. Doug,
No questions.
Penny,
Nope. All good.
Jen,
Nope.
Andy, Brendan,
No questions.
Richard,
Good.
Amy.
Yeah, so it appears to meet the requirements of a negative finding.
Okay. Anybody in the audience?
I see no hands.
Make a motion for
Can I ask one question?
maybe.
So I didn't even know there was still a Mass Electric company. That would be like Eversource or National Grid or something.
So, yeah, this is, they're doing business as National Grid. I believe it's just kind of an entity name. I think they probably traded hands so many times that they're all kind of the same entity at this point.
Okay, just a curiosity piece. All right, Penny. I know you
I make
chomping
a
at the bit.
motion for a -3.
Great. Do you have a second?
Second. Yeah. Good. Good
Wait a
one,
minute. I got confused. Andy, that was
Andy.
All right. Thank you. All
That
in
was-
favor, Richard?
Come on. Yes.
Who made the motion? Was it Penny? So Doug?
Yes.
Okay. Guys are trying to confuse it. Jen?
Yep.
Not that it's hard. Brendan?
Yes.
Frank, yes. Great. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Where are we with other items?
Frank, this is what I would like to insert. We're on to administrative items.
Mm-hmm.
And, if it's okay with you guys, I'd like you to make a motion to issue orders for all the NOIs that you heard tonight. They're all pretty straightforward, and we are just have a huge backlog, and it would be very helpful to get these going and get them out the door. I mean, it's not that they're going to necessarily, I mean, you'll see them before they go out, you know what I'm saying? But if we could just vote to accept them, they're, largely septics and the few others with a couple of special conditions. So I think we can do that if you're good with that, guys.
So what would happen with, say, Carnsley?
Well, we will not issue that one until we receive the revised. So you could do all but Carnsley. So you could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, 5 of the 6. And we could maybe shelve Carnsley till June 8th. And I'm sure they'll have the plan in by then, I would think.
We closed it, didn't we?
Well, we closed it. She just wants to issue the orders.
Okay, so you'll issue.
Yeah, it's closed pending receipt of revised plan.
Oftentimes, Doug, to move these along, if we vote to close an issue on the same night, it allows.
I agree. We should do that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the only one that I'm just wondering if we can do it for Carnsley, but other than that, I'm good.
I'll make a motion to that effect, to the, oh, what the heck? Here's my sheet here.
Jen's already got it written down.
Well, that's all right. To issue minutes for 159 R Glades, 25 Harvard, 12 Alden, 17 Nelson, and 22 Palfrey Street.
And so someone
Great.
wants to second that, right?
Second.
That was Penny. All right, all in favor? Doug?
Yes.
Jen?
Yep.
Andy?
Yes.
Brendan?
Yes.
And Frank, yes. Great. Let's move things along. Thank you, Amy. What's next that we want to take on?
Well, so we're going to issue a certificate of compliance for 121 Glades, which was a deck project. I know Jen Foley had actually observed some stuff going on in that area. And we had sent, including this address, sent letters, like notices of violation to like 3 addresses in this area because there was a machine and material was being built up. But anyways, it appears based on the responses that we received from everybody that there was a legitimate explanation about why the machine was there. But anyways, that's different from the certificate of compliance anyways. So there's no vote required for that, but that's where that stands. What's C, discussion? What are we discussing?
Frank was going
So-
to bring up Crosby and
Yeah,
Scott.
so I had gotten a request from the Troop 7 Scout leader, Nico Alfonsenko, regarding the Boy Scouts being able to camp at Crosby property this summer. Apparently, the summer camping that they usually do, or whatever they go to, the Scouts go to, is still on hold due to COVID. So they're looking to do more with that. And I had asked him to give me a little synopsis of what they wanted to do, and he just sent it out before the meeting. So I really haven't had a chance to scan the whole piece. I'd like maybe when you guys have a few minutes to read through and then shoot back any comments you have. I think that it's a shame that they haven't been able to do some of these camp outs. It's a big part of scouting. And Troop 7 has certainly been supportive of conservation projects, a lot of eagle work, some life badges. And I think they're pretty responsible. We'll have to work with them a little bit. I had a chance to chat with Penny briefly about it. So we'll have to think about a few things that they want to do there. And, they'd like to have a cooking fire. So we got to check with the fire department. We'll have to think about maybe they can get a porta potty placed in the parking lot or something like that. And then we'll follow up with some of the other items if you folks think it makes sense to do that. But it's fairly lengthy and quite a list. One of the things, though, that may be an issue is they're asking to create some tent platforms, and Penny's not sure if those are going to be allowed with the CR that we have through Wildlands Trust. So we'll have to work that out a little bit. But one of our goals in acquiring these properties and making it accessible that they could be used not only by the Scouts, but maybe an outing group for the schools. It's not going to be a campground, but if it could be used for organizations like that, I think it's a positive thing for the commission, but certainly want to think about the pros and the cons before we go all in. But just in discussing things with the Scout leader, I also mentioned to him our trying to nurture the beach grass at Museum Beach, and Amy's, I believe, located some beach grass plugs that could be planted there, and the Scouts are willing to take on that project and plant those out for us. So I just think they're good partners in a lot of the things we're doing, and hopefully when you read through it, just see if we can think of a positive way to work with them.
Good idea.
I'm just wondering whether this is also going to need Board of Selectmen approval.
What's going to need?
Well, let's talk to Jim and see whether he thinks that needs to go before him. I mean, the property's in our jurisdiction, and we do the oversight for it. But let's maybe we can run that by the town administrator and see if he's got any concerns.
Yeah.
But they were fairly detailed in their in what they'd like to do. It's pretty extensive, and maybe there's a couple of things we need to think about a little bit out there. And then what I'd like to do is reach out to our trails group and see what their thoughts are as well. They've been out there quite a bit. They've done a tremendous amount of work out there. They're familiar with the area, and maybe we can think about the appropriate location. I mean, we could certainly offer another spot at Bates Lane or something like that, but I think Crosby's probably the one that's best suited for this. But any thoughts like that you folks have would be really helpful.
Got it.
I read through it real quick, which means I read 1 out of every 20 words. So, no, so, but no, it looks really kind of exciting. I wished I had scoutmasters like that when I was young, but that are looking to do things. It looks really cool. My only and I'm just leaving this with everybody because I know everyone hasn't read it, but my two thoughts was I'm assuming the platforms are all going to go in the upland part of the park. There's nothing going to actually be in wetlands.
Right.
And they brought up a really good point. So one concern as you're first reading it was, what about bathroom facilities? Because there aren't any. So I just want to toss out the idea that they consider a composting toilet, which is, they were talking about like, temporary porta potties and things like that, but composting toilets can actually function really quite well if they're maintained properly. So that's my first thought as I read through it really quickly, but I'll read it again and digest it better.
Yoo-hoo.
Penny.
Yes, first and foremost. Yoo-hoo to you. First and foremost, we do have a CR on this property, and I did speak with Scott. And
From Wildlands Trust.
Wildlands Trust. Scott is the one that does the CRs. Okay, and permanent structures, even though it's a platform, are not something that they're wild about. But how I left it with Scott was that let me get back to him with Nico's proposal. So this I'm forwarding to Scott. Let him read it over. Let him talk to his boss about it, because we kind of have to follow what's on the CR and what's allowable. Okay, he thinks the scouts out there camping is a great idea, but he's not quite sure where the platforms are permanent, even though they don't go in the ground, they're on the ground, but they would be left out there. But he is more than willing to throw it around with his board and so forth, and maybe make a change to the CR on this particular property. But so I'll send it on to him, and hopefully I get some feedback before our next meeting on it, and let you know.
That'd be great.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Penny.
Good, Penny.
Oh, by the way, Doug, years ago, Frank, you'd know this, but we did have a site.
It was off of First Parish.
Yeah, where the scouts went camping every year.
I was out there.
Yeah, I bet you were. My brothers were too.
It was gone, or the building was burned down by the time I
yeah, well,
went out there.
my brothers was camped out there, and it was really a great experience.
Right.
So I'd love to offer that again here, but we have to kind of see what we can and can't do.
Thanks, Penny. So Doug, do you know if I asked this question of a septic engineer, whether or not outhouses are still permissible?
I don't know that they are.
I mean, they are. They are in Maine for camps and stuff in remote areas.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I suppose that's possible, but they're dug. The groundwater is going to be pretty shallow, and you dig a pit down there, you're going to be in it. So, I've certainly never proposed an outhouse on a plan.
I've got a great book on them.
Yeah, but that's why I was thinking of composting toilets, because they remain above ground, and if they're maintained, they're.
Do they require power or anything?
My brother's has one for his cabin, and he's got a it's basically a car battery that runs a fan. And so the power is just to have that fan circulate air through it. But it's a very mild, small use of power to run a very small fan just to circulate air. But other than that, it doesn't require any.
Okay, because I'm just trying to run the gauntlet here a little bit with the concerns about structures on the property. We've talked about this a little bit, even with the farms group, whether or not we could have a shed for the farmers or something like that. But let's give it some thought, and if anything comes to mind, certainly appreciate. Like to get back to them as soon as possible so they can make their plans. And Amy, maybe you and I we got a couple of things to discuss with the TA. Maybe we can find an audience for a few minutes.
Yeah, Frank, no problem. I mean, I guess my initial comment about select board weigh in, I mean, maybe you're right that we can ask Jim, but maybe it's not them, but I think soliciting input from other departments would be appropriate. I mean, and like Doug, I read the email too, and it looked like it has a possibility of being a fair number of scouts out there at one time. So, I mean, I'm thinking, and if it's porta potties, it could be Board of Health, could be if there's fires, it could be fire department, police department. I mean, people need to know that this is going to, if it gets approved, that it's going to be happening. Also, just how are we going to inform the neighbors about it? Or are they going to be far enough in the woods that wouldn't be a concern? I mean, things like that.
Okay. Well, I think the fire department would be a good one, and certainly would be notifying the police that they were going to be using it. Maybe we can even send this along to Craig Keefe. He's been helping us with a bunch of these if he sees any issues. So I can forward that on to him. Good. All right. What else do we have?
I have a few items just to shout out here. Okay.
Oh, Amy, before you jump to that, so do we know if we have grass plugs? And
We do. Well, we have the availability to purchase them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not cheap. I mean,
No,
it's like
not.
dollars. And so right now that's where we're waiting on funding.
So maybe you and I should set up a time to see if we can talk to Jim and talk about that.
Yeah, well, I sent him, I spoke to him and sent him communication, and I don't know, I think he indicated he might be able to have, find some funding. So we'll see where it goes. I mean, there are a lot of generous people in Scituate, often looking for projects like this to donate, resources and time and energy. And so maybe somebody will step up. They contact the TA's office with those types of offers frequently. So we'll see. Maybe that's, that could be a route. So but it is all scheduled to go down second week in May. And also a catch is that it needs to be picked up on the Cape. So money and transportation, but I mean, I think that's probably an easy thing to solve, honestly. Can I move on?
Yep.
Okay. So good news today, Sunoco responded. That's good. Right?
And what's the response, though?
What was the response?
Are they going to clean up?
Yeah.
They look forward to talking to us.
Oh.
And that Eddie was out of town, and I mean, it was kind of a lengthy response. I'm not going to repeat the entire thing, but they're acknowledging that they are aware and they want to meet with us. And so, I mean, we'll have to decide how we want to handle it. You know what I mean, Frank? We can talk offline too.
Sure.
But I mean, the first thing is probably to get our feet on the ground and eyes out there and see what they're doing. I think one of the comments was the material's not going in the resource area, so.
There's a buffer zone too, tell them.
Yeah, that's not accurate, but anyway, so that's good news. So you may have seen, if you were in town this week or the last couple of weeks, that the Peggy Beach parking lot is kicking off and getting done. That was something that you guys approved as a determination last year, I think it was. They're just resurfacing the pavement that was there previously, and that's a FEMA-supported, funded project in partnership with the town. So that's a positive thing that's happening. There's so much action going on around the town, especially in these coastal resource areas and other areas. Oh, here's one. If you've been down Maple Street, maybe you might have observed that that 132 Maple is up and going. I met with Mr. Pans this morning to review a minor change that he had. So that's exciting. And, it's good to see these projects that we permit actually start to happen, and that they happen in the way that they're permitted. And you guys spent a lot of time on that one. So it'll be good to see that one make some progress and go well. As far as people working without permits in these sensitive areas, I had some ideas about maybe creating some additional signage to put up in some of these areas where we have repeat offenders working without permits and so on and so forth. And then also throwing out the idea of fining contractors working without permits. I mean, people are, I don't know, for some reason, and I'm not saying that all contractors do it, because they certainly don't. Most people are play by the rules and play nicely. But we do have some people that don't think the rules apply. And so it's those people that would try to engage and see if we can get them at least on the books. I mean, I don't know, Inner Harbor Road I think that's like a project that you need to think about how to address that, because they have, under a minor activities permit, those properties have now rebuilt a pretty substantial sand dune, and which I think probably in the future, we should talk about that being a notice of intent. So I'd like to get your thoughts on that. And then just a mention about the town's hazard mitigation plan is going on. That's something that is renewed every so many years, and that's happening. So there may be some input requested of Conservation Commission on that one. And then lastly, sadly, I wanted to let you know that McGovern property that you put a lot of energy into was apparently deeded to the friends of another. They gave it to somebody else. So, and I want to take the sheds down, according to Bob.
They are going to?
They'd like to, yeah.
Can they work under the approval that we already gave?
Yes, they should be.
Okay.
That's too bad.
Yeah, that was disappointing. It came sort of
Out of nowhere.
out of nowhere. I got an email from the town administrator that he'd got an email that went to the assessor's office saying that they were the new owners and that they were a nonprofit. And I contacted the owner and asked why he did that. And he said he wasn't able to work out logistics with his neighbors, which seemed contrary to what we had heard the night that we issued the RDA for the removal of the building. So it was a little bit confusing. I do think that there was some time constraints on settling their estate, and whether they were fearful that it would take too long with the town. I'm not quite sure of the whole piece,
So
but
who's the new owner then?
it's Friends of Bassins Beach.
Aren't they the ones in litigation with the town of Scituate?
Yes.
Yeah,
We're not
So
going there.
that's a strategic move.
would you
Yeah.
think?
Yep.
It's disappointing to say the least.
Very.
Especially after going around that we did to work through that. So, yep. Didn't sit well with anybody here. But
Going in the back door.
if the buildings are being removed and it's still protected, I guess that's a positive step.
Oh, I have another one. So I mentioned that we have a pretty significant backlog of filings and they just keep rolling in. Thinking that adding a meeting would be maybe the way to go for just have an RDA only meeting like we did last time. We can just get some of these done, maybe even on, I think that the week after Memorial Day, so the 26th is a possibility, a Wednesday.
Memorial Day is the 31st.
Oh, I mean, I'm sorry, before. I have, meeting on the 17th. And so then having just like a meeting only on the following Wednesday. So that would be the Wednesday before Memorial Day.
That's fine.
What do you think? Is anybody available for that? Would be real.
We terminated one on the 4th of July, right? And so now you'd like to add one at what date?
RDA's only on
May.
I think is what we were talking about. So no, or we could do another Monday night. We could do the 24th, not Wednesday. We could do a Monday. It's just, it would break it up a little bit if we did it on a Wednesday.
I think Monday's the same. I mean, I think doing an RDA one only is good. I know that there's a lot of folks that are anxious to get their projects moving. So, I mean, you and Jen have to cover some ground to get those things prepared. So I don't know.
I mean, there's only so much that we can physically do with two people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I have the benefit of looking over at Jen and her eyes rolled back in her head at one point.
no, it's pretty much off the rails. I mean, I've been doing this for, 9 years and I've never seen quite a wave like this, but
You weren't in Scituate the whole time.
Well, I think if we can keep the meeting shorter, that's helpful. We've asked the question before with folks, people are returning to more normal work hours. Is the meeting, in a way, it's good to get started at 5:30 or whatever, but at the same time, is everyone able to get to the meeting without compromising their work schedule or their family schedule?
I'm still good with it on Monday nights just because I've learned to adjust around that. So
As am I.
Mondays are good.
So I like the earlier meeting myself.
Okay, well, it's good to get the pain out of the way early in the week. So
I'd like to throw in here. So I'm fine with the earlier meeting. Actually, I like it. It's just on the other end, make sure that we're if we're pushing it later, I kind of have to go pick up some people around 8.
Okay.
Some people.
Yes, my children.
Some
Just
little
various
people.
ones.
That's a priority.
Yeah, they're not little people anymore.
No, they're not.
Yeah. Andy, how about you?
Yeah, overall, I'm okay. I had to be late a couple times a little bit, but it's all right.
We'll hold all the good stuff till you get on.
Yeah, that works.
Okay. Jen?
Yeah, I'm fine. I like to go to bed early, so when our meetings are 4 hours long, it's nice when they start at 5:30.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's,
But I definitely understand that I have a different work-life balance and I can do an earlier meeting, whereas other people might be more challenging. So I'm happy to accommodate that.
okay. Anybody else want to add to that? Well, why don't we plan to keep doing that? And if we need to schedule a meeting and, as long as we can get a quorum, we realize people can't be at every one. And if you have something that you really want to be at, we'll try to make sure that that's held at a meeting that you can participate in.
I just have meetings the second Monday of every month.
Okay.
But other than that, the other Mondays I'm here.
We'll miss you.
So I'm
Oh,
hearing,
yeah.
we
Woo-hoo.
should schedule a second meeting, another meeting this month on the 24th.
Yeah, I mean, the alternative is to have longer meetings and not add it.
No.
I mean, because that certainly is an option, you know what I mean? And they all do come in with waivers of timelines, so, I mean, it kind of,
So
it is.
let's try and get everything cleared up. Get that pile down. I mean, I have the stack of the hard copies and we are.
Yeah, so let's
behind
add one on the
eight ball.
24th then. We'll
Yeah.
Okay.
do that with an RDAs only, and they go pretty quick.
Yeah,
much-
no, let's
Right.
do what we can to get back on track here.
And we just need 5 commissioners, really.
Yeah.
7 is ideal, but.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have anything for this evening?
No.
This is good.
Okay. Awesome.
Make a motion to close.
Second.
Richard's a motion, Penny's a second, Doug,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Brendan,
Yes.
Frank, yes. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Good night,
Everybody have a
everyone.
nice night.